Arguably, the two most intriguing games of the Week 15 college football slate was lost to cancellation Tuesday when Cincinnati at Tulsa and Michigan and Ohio State were both axed due to COVID-19 issues within the Bearcats and Wolverines programs. When it comes to Cincinnati and Tulsa, the two teams will still face off for the AAC championship, but now we will wait until December 19th for that game. In the aftermath, there are just two matchups between ranked teams on the schedule this weekend. Iowa will play host to Wisconsin in a meeting of two-loss Big Ten teams, while the high-powered North Carolina offense is eyeing an upset at Miami. However, beyond those two contests, which will inevitably shake up the AP Top 25, there are plenty of other opportunities for upsets as we move ever closer to championship week and the start of bowl season. And oh, by the way, the most prestigious college football game of all time will also be played this Saturday as the Army and the Navy battle it out from West Point. Hello, friends, and welcome to this newest edition of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday. I am your host, Anthony Florio. I am joined, as always, by good old MF Michael Fletcher. We are awaiting perhaps the presence of Michael Bullock. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we'll likely see him tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk. But unfortunately, I do have 1 ounce of bad news I have to share, and that is I've been searching high and low, and unfortunately, there are no announcer sheets. But so at least for this week only, barring a miracle here, I will not be able to share who will be the announce crews for these upcoming games. But I will do my best to get. I do have the other information, so that won't change. So with all that, let's get into the schedule for this upcoming week, and we started off. Well, first things first. There are no Friday games. Let's get that out of the way. All these are Saturday games, and we only have. Actually, now we have only 11 games because more games have been canceled due to COVID. Oklahoma, West Virginia, gone. Michigan, Ohio State, gone. Purdue, Indiana, gone. Texas and Kansas, gone. Cincinnati and Tulsa, gone. And Ole Miss and Texas A&M, gone. So when it comes to the top 25, we only have 11 games on the docket. But we have decided starting this year and going forward, even though they're not ranked, there's only one game of the whole year, whether they're ranked or not. And we're going to make an exception for this starting this year and going forward. Army-Navy. It's the most prestigious game in the history of the game. And I think we deserve to that game deserves a lot more respect than whether they're ranked or not. And unfortunately, neither of the teams are ranked. But whether they're ranked or not, we're gonna cover that game in our previews starting this year and going forward. So just wanted to get that off my chest. So with that being said, let's dive into our first game of the week, which well, it's only fitting that we start with the number 1 team in all the land, the Alabama Crimson Tide, and they're going to be squaring off against the Arkansas Razorbacks from Donald W. Reynolds Stadium in Fayetteville, Arkansas. And well, actually, I do have I only have a select few announcers here. It's only for the ESPN games. I can only find those. We have Bob Wischusen, Dan Orlovsky, and Chris Budden. They're going to be working this Alabama-Arkansas game. And to the surprise of no one, Alabama, a 32-point favorite. Yeah, okay. Arkansas might be the best 3-6 team in the country. It's hung around with Auburn, Texas A&M, LSU, and Missouri, the last of which kicked the game-winning field goal as time expired last week. But the Razorbacks just haven't been able to pull off a big upset. They're going to get steamrolled by Alabama, which is eyeing another national championship. But it's been a fun season for Razorback fans, especially our dear friend Stata Sorrell, who now have plenty of reason for optimism about the direction of the program. But nonetheless, it's going to be all Alabama all the time. And I'm going to use the final score that the Dallas Cowboys put on my Buffalo Bills in Super Bowl 27. 52-17. Alabama, roll tide, rolls all over Arkansas. Nothing more to say. MF, this is an easy next victim right here. No doubt about it.
Easy next victim, no doubt about it. You got to go Alabama. Look, I definitely agree. Arkansas has had moments where they've looked great, but you're going up against, consequently, the team that even in a lot of people's mind is probably going to win the national championship. So right now, I'll say Bama wins, and they'll win pretty comfortably. So Anthony, next game.
That's certainly fair enough. And let's see. Next up, we will get into, well, it's only fitting that MF will be starting this next one because it's out of his conference, the Big Ten. As it will be the number 14 Northwestern Wildcats, and they will be at home against the Fighting Illini of Illinois. And this game will be over on ESPN2. And it'll be Kevin Brown, Mike Golick Sr., and Taylor McGregor calling this game, as this game will be over on ESPN2 from Ryan Field in Evanston, Illinois. Northwestern opening up as a 14.5-point favorite. So MF, 2 touchdown favorites for Northwestern. They're at home. They got Illinois coming in. 5-1. Do they make it 6-1?
You know what? I have to say, I do believe that they will. I believe that they've been playing really good lately. Look, Northwestern, Illinois is not really a good team. Northwestern right now, look, they've been the darlings all year long. Kind of been pretty quiet, 5-1. And you know, they've played really well up to this point. So yes, I do believe Northwestern will win. They'll make it 6-1. Anthony, it's yours.
And before I get into my thought, I just want to get this off I just want to say one other thing, and that is we'll do all the ranked games first, and I think Army and Navy automatically should be the main event. So we're gonna do that at the end as a special bonus. So yes, it'll be a little bit out of order, but so what? That's all I can say. This is the exception to the rule. So we're gonna cover Army Navy as the last game of the night. Do all the ranked games first. So. All right. Now with that being said, let's get into this. Yeah, it's going to be Northwestern here. A week after upsetting Wisconsin to climb all the way to number 11 in the AP poll, Northwestern suffered a 29-20 loss at Michigan State, turning the ball over 4 times and rushing for just 63 yards on 37 carries. Last week's game against Minnesota was canceled because of a COVID-19 outbreak within the Golden Gophers, which means the Wildcats had an additional week of practice to iron out the issues they had against the Spartans. Illinois has played well in its last 3 games, but lacks the offensive firepower to move the ball consistently against the Northwestern defense. Northwestern rolls 31-17, no question about it. So with that being said, let's move on to our next high noon game. The number 9, Maiden Georgia Bulldogs. We went a little out of order here, but I do apologize for that. I mean, it's been a long couple of weeks for me at my job. Let me just tell you that right now. I've had to put in a lot of OT, but had a lot of long days. But we went a little out of order here. We should have gotten into what's now ended up being a very intriguing game now. The number 9 Maiden Georgia Bulldogs against the number 25 Missouri Tigers from Farrat Field in Columbia, Missouri. This will be over on the SEC Network. And I don't think we're going to have I don't think I'm going to get the announcers for this game. I don't think so. Or hold on. No, actually, I do have it. It's Dave Neal, DJ Shockley, and Lauren Sisler. Remember, I'm only going to have the announcers for ESPN Network-related games. So the SEC network, of course, is a part of the ESPN family of networks. So Dave Neal, DJ Shockley, Lauren Sisler will have it, and the spread favors Georgia by 13. So I do apologize for that, but that small little bit of out of order there. But anyways, I'll take it for a spin anyways. Missouri is 5-1 in its last 6 games, with its lone loss during that stretch coming at Florida. The Tigers pitched a shutout against Vanderbilt on November 28th and then exploded for a season-high 50 points in a shootout with Arkansas last week. A few weeks ago, this would have been an appealing upset pick, but the Georgia offense has looked different with JT Daniels. With the quarterback position finally sorted out and a stout run defense, the Bulldogs will come out on top in a tough test. Closer than you think, Georgia wins 30-20. That's all I say there. So MF, Georgia at number 9. And how about Missouri cracking the top 25? Can you believe that? When was the last time they were in the top 25? It's been a long time.
It's been a long time for Missouri to be in the top 25, and yeah, absolutely. They had a remarkable run. This has been a great season for them as well. But for Georgia, it's business as usual. You know, you just got to keep playing the way you've been playing. You kind of got to hope for some good luck, some good fortune to hit your way, but as of right now, I don't see it. At least for them to make the college football playoff, I'm trying to say. But maybe they do have an outside chance at New Year's 6 being one of the at-larges because they are within the realm of possibility. But at the end of the day, I do got Georgia winning, and there's really nothing more to add here. Florio, it's yours.
Okay. Our final high noon game, and surprisingly, this one comes from the Pac-12.
Yep.
Yeah. And this one will be over on Fox. I'm not sure which Fox crew is going to have it. I'm guessing maybe Gus Johnson's crew might have it. I mean, we'll wait and see.
It's possible because of the fact that they were originally supposed to do Michigan, Ohio State, but now that game's off the table, I probably would say yeah.
Okay. So we'll wait and see on that, but I'm very disappointed with the website that I get my announcer sheets from. I mean, usually they have it ready. I mean, they have the NFL sheet ready. I mean, that's
I think what has happened is because of the fact with all the COVID news and everything else going around, I kind of understand why they're not really prepared because there's so many games that's getting canceled that they're like, what do we do? It's a panic. I get it. I totally get it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, but nonetheless, it is the number 21. Yeah, number 21, Colorado Buffaloes. Colorado back in the top 25. Speaking of long time things here, Colorado Buffaloes, number 21. They're going to be hosting the Utah Utes from Folsom Field in Boulder, Colorado, over on Fox, and Colorado opening up as a 2-point favorite. So MF, here's another team that we haven't seen in the top 25 in a while. Colorado clocking in at number 21.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Colorado is going to win as well. Utah had their one shining moment. They looked good early in the year. They looked good in the year, but you know, they've also been struck by COVID. I mean, a lot of their games that they were supposed to have got washed out by the boards. It was very unfortunate too. You know, they did the two most notable games that they were supposed to have. They lost the game against UCLA. They lost the game against Arizona. They got their last win that was over Oregon State, but they lost to USC pretty badly. They lost in a heartbreaker to Washington. And as far as Colorado goes, Colorado's just been, you know, moseying on along. You know, beat UCLA, beat Stanford, beat San Diego State, beat Arizona. They were supposed to play Arizona State last week, but that game got canceled due to COVID. Now they got a Utah team. I'd say they win the game. That gives them five. That'll give them 5 wins, and that would actually put them in line to play for the Pac-12 title because of the standings and everything else. So, if I am correct, actually, it would come down to USC versus Colorado. Um, Ooh, that's close. Oh, is USC playing this week? Or did they get... Yeah, they're playing UCLA. So that could decide who goes to the Pac-12 championship game.
Yeah.
Oh, my. Yeah. I
Yep.
got Colorado winning. I don't think it's going to be enough, though, because I actually do have UCLA. I got USC beating... I actually do have them beating UCLA. So, no. We'll get into it a little bit later on, but yeah. Give me Colorado to win. So, Anthony, it's yours.
And I have a programming reminder I want to let you folks know about. Next Friday is scheduled to be the Pac-12 championship game, and I checked my guide today, and I couldn't help but notice that it's scheduled for 8 o'clock next Friday night on Fox, which means Friday Night SmackDown will be moving over to FS1 next Friday night because of the Pac-12 championship game being on Fox. So that's what I've heard. So just wanted to let you know about that. But anyways, getting back to this, I gotta go with Colorado as well. I mean, I agree with MF. After 3 straight 5-7 seasons, Colorado has returned to relevance with a 4-0 start under new head coach Carl Dorrell. The Buffalo's defense has allowed just 23 points over the last 2 weeks, and running back Jarek Broussard has been one of the breakout stars of 2020. He had 301 rushing yards on 25 carries last week against Arizona. And while the Utah defensive front is a lot more formidable, he should once again have a big day on the ground to help lead Colorado to victory. So I'm going with Colorado to win. 31-24, Colorado knocks off Utah. So that will put the bow on the high noon games. We have a 3 o'clock game. And guess what, folks? The next team we're going to get into, they proved it last week. Folks, they are for real. Yes, they are. The number 13, Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. And they're going to be squaring off against the Troy Trojans from Veterans Memorial Stadium. And at Troy, that is. And this game will be over on ESPN Plus. And I don't have the announcers for that game because they don't have it listed, but it's on ESPN Plus, so you get the idea. And Coastal Carolina opening up as a 13-point favorite. So Troy shut out South Alabama 29-0 last week, but has struggled against high-level competition this season, suffering blowout losses against BYU 48-7 and Appalachian State 47-10. The Chanticleers are fresh off a huge win over BYU and looking to put the finishing touches on an undefeated regular season. Their well-balanced offense will simply be too much for the Troy Trojans to slow down, let alone stop. 31-17, Coastal Carolina keeps on chugging along. And boy, howdy, I love it because you know how much I love underdog stories. MF, you know that better than anybody. So
Yes, indeed.
Coastal Carolina, 31-17. MF, I mean, no way they're going to have a hangover off what you have to consider their biggest win in school history.
They knocked off BYU.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, BYU knocked off another one of our darlings in Boise State. Not only knocked them off, beat the living daylights out of them.
Oh, yeah.
I think none of us thought, okay, no way, nothing's going to stop them. And then COVID hit, started turning the world upside down, and then BYU and Coastal Carolina was like, yeah, all right, let's play each other. Let's go at it. Let's knock one of us out. I'm like, why would you do that? You had a chance at the New Year's Six. You knocked yourselves out of the game. But Coastal Carolina, and that's the thing. Their heart, their drive, their motivation, they did not want to go down. And let's be honest, it looked bleak for most of the game. BYU was winning this game, guys. If you were watching it from beginning to end, BYU was winning. Tulsa, Carolina came back to win that game. And they did. I don't think there will be a hangover. I think they'll beat Troy. There's nothing more to add. Anthony, it's yours.
All right. And we move on now to the first of two 3:30 games. And by the look of the numbers and everything else, you could consider this, other than Army and Navy, this is, without question, when it comes to the ranked games, this is the game of the week right here. Big time implications within the ACC, no doubt about it. Well, maybe not, because, well, we already know it is official. We wanted the rematch. We're going to get the rematch. Notre Dame and Clemson, round 2 for the ACC championship next Saturday. We'll get into that next week. But for this week, maybe not implications, but whole lot of pride. That's all there is to say on this. But a great matchup here. The number 10 Miami Hurricanes, the U. And they're going to be hosting the number 17 North Carolina Tar Heels from Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, Florida. And this will be over on ABC. I know you usually expect to see these guys at night, but oh no, they work afternoons too. And they're doing it again here. The A team, Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, Maria Taylor, they're going to be in South Beach for this one. And the U, Miami, opening up as a 3.5-point favorite. MF, this is tailor-made for you, man. This is an MF special right here. Great ACC matchup. The U, number 10, they're your other team other than Michigan, of course. You're a big U fan. And they're hosting Carolina. Maybe not. There may not be any implications, but this is.
Oh no, there's implications, Anthony. There's implications for Miami. A win here and maybe some losses along the way. Miami could be looking at a New Year's 6. So no, there is an outside chance for Miami to get a New Year's 6 bowl game. And to get in. They're in that realm of possibility. I think you got to be in the top 10 to be considered. So no, for Miami, you actually do have a chance to get in. Like I said, you need a couple of teams to lose along the way, and you're going to need some help. As far as college football playoff goes, no, they're not going to be in it because you got to be in the top 4. But if you're in the 5, 6, 7, 8 range, you actually have a shot to get into a New Year's 6. So no, if you're Miami, you're playing your heart out and you want to show the committee, hey, we want to be in a New Year's 6 bowl game. We want to play outside of the New Year's 6, because remember, the New Year's 6 this year is Rose Bowl and I think it's Sugar.
Yes.
So those are the 2 games. So Rose and Sugar are already out. Like those games are already out of play because those are national championship game, national championship, college football playoff, national championship and semifinal implication.
New Year's Day.
So that's what that is. But you got Peach, you got Fiesta, you got the Orange Bowl, you got
Cotton Bowl Classic.
And Cotton Bowl. So you still got 4 games out there that you could get in. So if you're the Miami Hurricanes, oh no, Anthony, you're not resting on your laurels right about now. You're not thinking, yes, in the back of your mind, you're like, well, national championship's out of the mix, ACC's out of the mix because we did lose to Clemson. No, if you're Miami, if you win this game, and if a couple of teams along the way get tripped up, you actually put yourself in position to play for a New Year's 6. And let me tell you, to play a New Year's 6, that's a $5 million payday for any university that gets in.
Wow.
So, oh yeah, Miami wants in. They want to be there. because there's 4 games that's outside of that college football playoff. Hey, if we get in, if we play for the playoffs, if we get into New Year's Six, we get that spotlight in front of the whole world. Are you kidding me? Obviously, they can't play Orange Bowl because that's a geographical nightmare. And on top of that, I don't think they're allowed to play the Orange Bowl. I don't know if there's a rule for the Hurricanes to play in their own building. I think that's against NCAA standards. I don't think they're allowed to play there. But they could play in the Sugar Bowl. They could play in the Peach Bowl. They could put them up in Atlanta. Let them play at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. They could play in the Sugar Bowl. They could dump them right in New Orleans up in the Superdome if they wanted to. So, I mean, or you could put them in the Cotton Bowl Classic, play them in Jerry World at AT&T. So, obviously, if you're a Miami Hurricane, you got to think about this way. You want to win this game. You got to beat North Carolina. They got the team. They got a quarterback. The defense has been stepping up lately. I'm going with the Miami Hurricanes to win this game. Nothing more to add. Anthony Florio, it is yours.
Yeah. I did not know that. Okay. But anyways, just trying to find it here in my notes. Okay. Both of these offenses can pile up points, so it will come down to which defense shows up. The Hurricanes have been stout at times, including in a 48-0 shutout of Duke last week, but they also looked porous in shootout wins against Louisville 47-34 and NC State 44-41. If anything close to the Sam Howell who threw for 550 yards and 6 touchdowns against Wake Forest shows up, the Tar Heels will be more than capable of pulling off an upset in a high-scoring game. But at the end of the day, though, I'm with MF. I got to go with the U in this one. High-scoring, close game. I'm going to go 38-31. The U barely squeaks by Carolina in what should be a very fun and entertaining game, no doubt about it. So if you're fans of Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit, you're going to be in for a treat. That's all I can say on that, especially if there's a foot race. So that's all I can say on that. So I love it when Chris Fowler yells out foot race. I mean, that's my favorite. So, all right. The other 3:30 game that we're going to get into from the Big Ten, we have the number 16 Iowa Hawkeyes squaring off against the Wisconsin Badgers from Kinnick Stadium in Des Moines, Iowa. This will be over on FS1, and Wisconsin opening up as a 1-point favorite. All right. So, let me see. The Hawkeyes put together a dominant second half against Illinois last week to pick up their 5th straight win. And first-year starter Spencer Petras had his best game of the season. The redshirt sophomore completed 18 of 28 passes for 220 yards and 3 touchdowns, helping to take some pressure off the running game. Meanwhile, the Badgers have managed just 13 points in the last 2 weeks, with Indiana keeping them out of the end zone last Saturday. The Wisconsin defense will keep things close, and this could devolve into a ground and pound Big Ten game, advantage to homestanding Iowa. Iowa wins 24-21. Nothing more to say. MF, here you go, man. Big Ten special for you.
Yeah, the Big Ten special for us, no doubt about it. And I'm in total agreement. I'm gonna go with Iowa as well. Look, Wisconsin's been bitten by the COVID bug as well. They didn't get to play that many games. I think Iowa's just more refreshed. They're more better. And I just feel like when they're at home, they're a different animal than they are on the road. I got Iowa winning, and they're going to win this one pretty comfortably. So, Anthony, it is yours. And actually, is it time?
Well, we're saving that one. We're saving that for the main event.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
Do the ranked game. Do the ranked games first, and we'll do that as our special bonus. So that's all there is to say there. So we'll get into that at the end. Don't worry about that. But
okay.
We're gonna get into our. We got primetime games now. We got 3 of them, and we're gonna get into our next game. This will be over on ESPN, 7:00 kickoff. The number 6 Florida Gators back at home at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium in Gainesville, Florida, and they're going to be hosting the LSU Tigers. Um, but before I get into that, it is a final from Thursday Night Football. The Los Angeles Rams. Wow. 24-3 beatdown of the New England Patriots. And
that's a bad loss for
yeah.
New England. They did not need that.
Oh,
That's
no.
a devastating loss for them.
Yep, and we will recap that come Saturday night on NFL Saturday. It was our number 5 game of the week, and yeah, so much for that being an exciting game. I mean, I had a lot of high hopes for that one. I really did, but not this time. So 24-3 LA Rams over the Patriots. So we'll share our thoughts on that come Saturday. But for right now, let's get into this. Number 6 Florida Gators at home, hosting the LSU Tigers, Ben Hill Griffin Stadium in Gainesville, Florida. ESPN. That's where you can find it. And on the call for that one, it'll be Sean McDonough, Todd Blackledge, and Todd McShay. Yep. And Florida opening up as a 22-point favorite. So not much more to say. MF. I mean, we talked about it. I mean, this week may not be the best week, but I'll tell you what. Next week, championship week, we've already got some star-studded matchups, including a prime time heavyweight battle in the SEC championship. Florida takes on Alabama for the SEC championship at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. But before that, they got LSU coming in, 3-touchdown favorite. Nice tune-up warm-up for them.
Well, it's a nice tune-up warm-up for them because you're going up against the defending national champions in LSU. Even though this has not been their year, Florida, you got to be very careful. This is not a game to be thinking about Alabama. Do not do that with the defending champions. That is a recipe for disaster, and that is asking for trouble. So no, they're gonna handle their business. They will win this game, no doubt about it. Do not look past LSU. Do not do it. Don't do it, Florida. That's all I'm asking. Play your game, handle your business, then deal with Alabama in the ATL next week. But until then, they'll win this game. Nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, it's going to be Florida, no doubt. LSU. A lot of people thought maybe they would give Alabama somewhat of a fight. Nah. They fell behind 45-14 by halftime in a 55-17 blowout loss. Florida is still trying to improve its case for a spot in the college football playoff, so expect Kyle Trask, Kyle Pitts, and the rest of the Gators offense to run it up in what will be a second straight blowout loss for LSU. 49-20, Florida all over LSU. Nothing more to say. Our other 7 o'clock game features the number 22 Oklahoma State Cowboys, and they're going to be starting off against the Baylor Bears. And that game will be over on ESPN University. And by the way, the game will be played at McLean Stadium in I think it's in Waco, Texas, I believe. ESPN University will house this game, and it'll be Clay Matvick and Rocky Boyman on the call, and Oklahoma State opening up as a 4-point favorite. So let me see. I don't know if I have any notes on this one, but no. Wait a minute. I'm just going to keep it short and sweet. I think Oklahoma State will win this one. I don't have a full preview here. I'm going to go Oklahoma State in this one, 28-25. Not much more to say. MF, Oklahoma State, and Baylor.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's going to be Oklahoma State. Baylor's 2-6. Absolutely disappointing this year. Oklahoma State should win this one and win this pretty comfortably. So nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
Yep, and we have a 7:30 kickoff over on ABC, and it will feature the number 15 USC Trojans squaring off against their hated rivals, the UCLA Bruins. And you know what that means? Rose Bowl.
Yep.
Because that is, I believe, where UCLA plays, is it not?
That's where they normally would play. They would play in Pasadena. Yep. You're absolutely right.
Yes, sir. Dave Patch, Greg McElroy, Allison Williams will have the call. USC opening up as a 2-point favorite. So in that, USC, UCLA.
It this is one of the big rivalry games. This is the one that we always look forward to year in and year out. Obviously there is a lot of downers on this one because of the COVID and what everything has happened. I got USC winning. That will cement them to play for the Pac-12 championship, and they would actually play Washington. If that that matchup would happen, it would be Washington to the final. So yeah, nothing more to say. It will be Washington versus USC for the Pac-12 championship. Florio, it's yours.
Ah, yeah, and by the way, when it comes to the Pac-12 championship, it was originally scheduled to be at the beautiful new Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, but because of COVID, that's not going to happen. It's going to be at the at the winner. I mean, I should say the team that has the better record, whichever of the two division winners has the better record. That game will be on their campus. So let's just make that abundantly clear. Next year, we'll see that Pac-12 title game at Allegiant. So
If that is the case, if USC wins, they would be the home team. It would be at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. It would be at the LA Memorial Coliseum, the home of the not only the home of USC, but also the home of the 2028 Summer Olympic Games.
Nice. Well, when it comes to these two schools, I mean, MF loves the Rose Bowl. I mean, it's no secret. I can tell you stories about how much MF loves the Rose Bowl, and I know MF. Once we get to the college football playoff, you're going to be clamoring for the Rose Bowl, regardless of who's in it. So, and I certainly wouldn't mind that at all, to be in that beautiful venue. But USC, LA Coliseum, you know how much I love that. That's the venue that I love, and I still have those what if thoughts about WrestleMania 7 being there. Still to this day, I do. But always and forever I will. But anyways, another story. But it's going to be USC. I mean, USC made a statement last Sunday night with 28 first quarter points against Washington State, and sophomore quarterback Kedon Slovis finished with a career-high 5 touchdown passes and a 38-13 win. The Trojans have emerged as the cream of the crop in the Pac-12, but UCLA always comes to play in this rivalry matchup. The Bruins nearly upended Oregon on November 21, and they've won 2 in a row over Arizona and Arizona State. USC is the superior team on paper and should come out on top, but that hasn't meant much in the Pac-12 this year, so don't expect a blowout. It'll be more of a comfortable win. That's all I can say. 31-20, USC over UCLA. And then from there, our final ranked game of the night, a 10 o'clock kickoff over on ESPN2. The number 18 BYU Cougars back at home at Lavelle Edwards Stadium in Provo, Utah. And they're going to be hosting the Aztecs of San Diego State. ESPN2 will be housing this one. Beth Mowins, Kirk Morrison, and Stormy Bonatoni will be there. And BYU opening up as a 17.5-point favorite. And let's be realistic, folks. BYU coming off perhaps the most demoralizing loss in school history. That's the question. How will BYU respond to its first loss? Despite losing both games, San Diego State held good offensive teams in Nevada, 26 points, and Colorado, 20 in check, limiting Buffalo's star running back Jarek Broussard to 3.9 yards a carry in a high-volume game. The Cougars are the better team and will come out on top, but this is going to be closer than most expected. BYU will win. Final score 27-14. MF, I think this is a perfect game for BYU to bounce back after that demoralizing loss to Coastal Carolina.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about it. I do believe that BYU will turn it and they will get this victory. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to add. Anthony, well, it's known
Yep.
as America's Game, one of the longest rivalries in all of college sports. And without a doubt, one of the greatest honors that I get to do every year. But you get to lead off, set it up. Army versus Navy.
What else is there to say? It's the most prestigious college football game in history. It's like so much about 2020. The 121st Army-Navy game won't look like what we've grown used to in recent years. First of all, the game will be played on campus in West Point rather than at a neutral site, considering restrictions. Oh, hold on a minute. Got a pop-up video here. All right. Considering restrictions on fan access to games and stadiums this season, it didn't make a lot of sense to have the game played at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. The other significant change is that the game will not be played in its own exclusive window. For years, the Army-Navy game had a Saturday all to itself the week after conference championship games. That's not possible this year, but while those things are different, it's still Army versus Navy. A classic matchup between the most traditional of rivals. Watching an Army-Navy game is akin to looking back in time as both teams play a style of football that we don't see much of anymore. But it's still beautiful if you know what you're looking for and what to expect. Not even a pandemic can take that away from us. So this game will be from Michie Stadium in West Point, New York, 3 o'clock Eastern Time. CBS, it'll be, of course, Brad Nessler, Gary Danielson, and Jamie Erdahl. But in our circle, our own good old MF Michael Fletcher, along with our dear friend and former Army veteran Eric Carrier, they're going to be covering this. I don't know how many years it's been since you two started it, but I do know MF. It's always fun watching you two. I mean, it's the one game of the year that MF comes out of retirement. I mean, well, not really retirement, but gets to go back to what he was known for, being the lead in a football game. And so MF, I don't have the spread here. I would have to imagine Army's the favorite. I mean,
Army is a 3-point favorite. I got this from ESPN.
okay.
So it's
Army
by 3. Yep.
Army by 3, and I mean they're 7-2. I mean, I'm very surprised they're not in the top 25. I thought they would have been, but they're not. But anyways, first time since 1943. This game will be played on the campus of one of the service academies. Army West Point will serve as the host, and at Michie Stadium. So while fans may not be able to attend this week's game, the cadets and midshipmen, though, they will pack the stands with appropriate social distancing measures in place, of course. So MF, I mean, Army, Navy, you and Eric Carrier, brother, I can't wait.
Yeah, and this is always an exciting time for all of us. Every time we see these games and every time this game actually happens, it gets better and better and better year in and year out. The excitement level gets even more hotter and better. There's really nothing more to add. This is the game of all games. Army, actually, Anthony, Army is actually a 7-point favorite. I stand corrected, but I do got Army knocking off the Navy. I do believe that this is going to be their year, but you always got to be very, very, very cautious with these kind of games because of the fact that you never know how this plays out. Army should win, and they'll get the victory here. Nothing more to say. Army beats the Navy. Anthony, let's just call it a night.
Well, I got to give my thoughts, though.
I thought you started it. I'm sorry.
No, you let off.
Oh, I'm sorry. I stand corrected.
You're set. So after I give my thoughts, then we'll call it a night. But anyways, Navy is hoping to make up for a tough season with a victory over their rivals from Army. After a brief winning streak by Army in the series, Navy thumped Army last year to the tune of 31-7. It has been a tough season for Navy, though, so expecting more of the same might be unwise. But in the storied history of this rivalry, it should be noted Navy is a perfect 3-0 all time when the two teams play in Army's Michi Stadium. Can Navy make it 4-0, or will Army move one step closer to potentially claiming the Commander-in-Chief trophy? And when Navy has the ball, Navy's offense has had struggles not typical for a team coached by Ken Niumatalolo. In their last 2 games played, Navy has just scored 13 combined points against Memphis and Tulsa. Navy had 3 weeks off going into that offensive drought, but the midshipmen also managed just 7 points earlier this year against Air Force and was steamrolled by BYU in their opener on Labor Day night. Navy will have to be careful protecting the football. Army's defense has scored 3 touchdowns this season. Defensive back Jabari Moore has been responsible for 2 of those defensive scores, with an interception and a fumble return for a touchdown this season. Army linebacker John Radigan has 93 interception return yards on 2 picks. When Army has the ball, Army's rushing distribution is pretty even between quarterbacks Tuhir Tyler and Christian Anderson and running backs Jacoby Buchanan and Tyrell Robinson. But when down near the goal line, the ball is entrusted in the hands of Sandon Mayo, who leads the Black Knights with 10 rushing touchdowns this season. Navy's defense ranks 3rd in the AAC by allowing 410.3 yards a game this season, but the midshipmen have allowed 32 points a game this fall as well. The way things have gone this season, this year's Army-Navy game feels as though it is leaning Army's favor for a variety of reasons. But this rivalry tends to bring out a team's best even when things are not going well. That could bode well for Navy, especially in a game like this where much of the action takes place on the ground and the clock keeps moving. But Army has been far more consistent this season, and that should pave the way for Army getting a chance to sing second. Army wins. My final score, 26-17. I'm going with the Army to beat Navy, so that's really all there is to say on that. So with that will put the ball on this latest edition of College Football Thursday. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in as always. And next week on this program, it is championship week. And my, oh my, but in addition, it's not just championship week. We also have some other games. We also have some regular season games. There are some, makeup games, if you will. As of now on the schedule, number 10 Miami will be hosting Georgia Tech. Number 9 Georgia will be hosting Vanderbilt. Number 5 Texas A&M will be squaring off against Tennessee. And number 25 Missouri will go up against Mississippi State. But I think other than those 5 matchups, it's a 10-game slate, but the other 5 are the championship games. Oklahoma and Iowa State in the Big 12 championship over on ABC at high noon. High noon on Fox, there'll be Northwestern and Ohio State for the Big 10 championship. The big one that we're all waiting for, Clemson, Notre Dame, the rematch for the ACC championship on ABC. 4 o'clock, and then prime time on CBS, the SEC championship game, number 1 Alabama, number 6 Florida. And then the AAC championship will also be in prime time on ABC, number 24 Tulsa against number 8 Cincinnati. So 50-50 week, but it's primarily championship week. And we also have Coastal Carolina, and they're going to be hosting Louisiana. I believe that's going to be for the Sun Belt Championship. So we'll get into all that next week. I believe this would be the season finale of College Football Thursday already. So that's that. So we'll be back with you tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk. MF will host it, along with myself, Michael Bullock, and Dede Woodson, as we will review Friday Night SmackDown. And then Saturday, we'll get into NFL Saturday. A lot of great matchups. 4 huge games on the AFC side. The Pittsburgh Steelers against the Buffalo Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs against the Miami Dolphins, the Baltimore Ravens against the Cleveland Browns, and the Indianapolis Colts against the Las Vegas Raiders. 4 huge matchups, and we're going to get into that. We'll preview the rest of the slate, and we'll also briefly recap the Patriot-Ram game from tonight. And then Monday, we start it all again with Ridiculously Raw, the go-home show for TLC. And by the way, the SmackDown will be the first show for WWE inside their new Thunderdome at Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida, the home of the American League champion Tampa Bay Rays. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait for that. And then Monday, Ridiculously Raw, like I said, and then Wednesday Night Mayhem, and then this program next week for championship week and those makeup games. So that's all there really is to say on that. So until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, this is Anthony Florio here, signing off for my elite panel. Good old MF Michael Fletcher, Michael Bullock, Pete Woodson, and always and forever Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Friday. And until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, you've been watching Week 15 of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody, bye.